In fact, if you recollect, this entire movement is not after just economics. It's after reforming the society. And when you talk about the society, it encompasses the economics, the sociology, the history, the culture. That's why you'll find that they have dwelled in all these spheres. It's not just confined to any one of these domains. Like for instance, they would brand that DMK is a party of cine stars, which means they have focused their attention enormously on that particular aspect along with other aspects. Like for instance, they want to fight against the caste hierarchy, caste discrimination, and simultaneously they used cinema. So their spectrum is very wide. Unlike many other social movements in India, this movement is the only movement which had used all the fronts simultaneously. So you can't say that this party is after economics or after society. This is after social justice. If you ask me to put it in one word, I would say that this party is after social justice. When you talk about social justice, usually it's just reduced to the reservations. It's not just the reservations. Social justice has a very wide meaning, and that meaning includes the anybody can become a priest in the temple. That starts from there and ends with this kind of reservation. Reservation is the starting point. The end point is something different. The end point is emancipation of the human beings without caste discrimination. That's what this party is all about, and this movement is all about. The economic basis is when you broad base it. When you broad base, like for instance, when you open up the opportunities for all the sections of the society, it eventually results in the betterment of the living of the people, which means their economy also improves. That's what like for instance, if you take the most important scheme that I would cite is the free distribution of rice. Free distribution of rice, the like for instance, Amartya Sen says that the drastic reduction of poverty in Tamil Nadu is attributable straight away to the free distribution rice scheme. So that's how it impacts. That's at a very elementary level, that's what is happening. And at a very broad level, like for instance, if you take the migration patterns, of people from Tamil Nadu to outside means outside the country, it has a very unique pattern, unlike Kerala. If you take Kerala, the migration is usually to the Gulf, and predominantly they are going there as workers. Whereas in Tamil Nadu, what happens is, it's not that workers are not going from here. Workers are going. They are the majority. But you simultaneously also have a very large section of people who are skilled and who go to work not only to East Asia, they go to West Asia, as well as to North America and Europe. So the remittances from Europe and North America is very high compared to what you find in the other states in the country. So the economics, what you talk about, when you talk about social justice, it empowers you. So whenever new opportunities come up, so all the sections can benefit simultaneously. When you don't do that, what happens is only a very small minority and very small elite will benefit out of these new kinds of opportunities. The best case and example is the liberalization that started in 1991. When the liberalization came, we had people who were educated from all the sections of the society. From every caste, you had people. That's why you could find software engineers from across the spectrum, social spectrum. That could happen only in Tamil Nadu. If you go to Andhra Pradesh, what happens is only the two dominant communities, you will find that the cream comes from there, and they are the ones who took the new kind of an opportunity. Similarly, that's what happened in Karnataka. Whereas here, you will find it's a very broad-based kind of representation, even the new kinds of opportunities. In fact, there were scholars who were questioning, who were telling that the new kinds of opportunities were predominantly cornered by the Brahmin elite, and that has not been proven right. Like for instance, I have worked on that area, and I have interviewed several of the new kinds of software entrepreneurs, and they were very emphatic. They said that no, that could be true only at the very top, but that doesn't negate the fact that a large section in the lower level and the middle level is from the broad caste spectrum of the Tamil society. So that had been made possible only because of the kind of movement that we had. So that has its impact on the economics of the families of these caste. There is no one thing as blueprint that you have in place to show that this is what we want to do. But what you can decipher from what has happened so far is that as you have answered to your earlier question, what you find is that it has tried to address so many issues simultaneously. I'll tell you one thing. Like for instance, Tamil Nadu is one state which started maximizing the available use of water even during the 70s. By 1970, Tamil Nadu has utilized 97% of the known potential of water resources. There are stupid fellows who keep on arguing that they have been invested in big dams. Where do you construct a dam? If you don't have river and if you don't have water, where do you construct a dam? Can you construct a dam in the sea? These are the questions that these stupid fellows are asking. In fact, by 1973, I think 97% of the known potential had been exploited. So, for all that, Tamil Nadu is a water-starved state. Within the water-starved state, whatever is possible, it has already been done. So that's why they started emphasizing more on non-agricultural performance in the state. And for that, they realized that the social sector investment is very, very important. And if you take the budget even today, Tamil Nadu has one of the largest expenditure for the social sector. And that is the legacy of the Dravidian movement. Whether it is ruled by DMK or ADMK, the investments in the social sector is very, very important. Though investment in social sector is being called as revenue expenditure, in fact, our view, our policymakers' view is that it is a capital expenditure. In the sense, it's a long-term investment, and the benefits will accrue to you in the long term, and that we are seeing it with our own eyes, even today. So that's what we have been focusing on, and that is one. Secondly, what we have done is we haven't been very rigid about our industrial policy. Our industrial policy had always been very, very futuristic. In fact, Tamil Nadu is one state where you have the largest number of small and medium enterprises. In fact, you have the largest number of medium and small enterprises out of the whole country. That is one. Secondly, the kind of industrialization that we have had here, that we have even today here, is very different from the patterns that you will find in very highly industrialized states, like for instance, Maharashtra or in Gujarat. What you find in Tamil Nadu is that it's very broad-based. If you take Gujarat, if you will find that only petroleum-based products. If you take out the petroleum-based products, the entire industrial story of the state will collapse. Gujarat. Similarly, if you take Maharashtra, there are one or two industries where it dominates. But for that, it will just wither away. Whereas Tamil Nadu, you will find 4 or 5 industries, which are the leading sectors, apart from 6 other sectors, which are second or third in the contribution to the overall economy. That way, the kind of industrialization we have is very broad-based, not only in terms of the sectors, also in terms of sizes. So you have small enterprises, medium enterprises, large enterprises, and a very wide kind of. And more importantly, Tamil Nadu is one state where largest number of industrial workers are employed in the industrial sector. Whereas in Gujarat, it will be more capital intensive. In Maharashtra, it will be more capital intensive. Tamil Nadu, it is less capital intensive compared to those two, but it's more labor intensive. So in terms of employment and in terms of moving away from agriculture also, Tamil Nadu has done differently, and it has benefited people. It's a different story that we couldn't draw more people into the industrial sector. And as a state, you are working within a union, okay, within the Union of India. So there are several policies which you can't you don't have any control over it. So within that, whatever is possible has already been done, and it's being done. And similarly, the another part of that same story is that when government of India decided that it will have only the private investment-led growth from 1991 onwards, Tamil Nadu realized that it's not going to be the union's money that will be pumped through the public sector enterprises that will lead the kind of industrialization that we would like. So they said that this is not going to happen. So Tamil Nadu is one state which again took up that opportunity very seriously and worked tediously towards that. And as a result, we have benefited enormously from that. If you take the per capita income of Tamil Nadu and compare it with the northern states, and if you draw it over a period of time, you will find that all of them are not traveling the same level. Like for instance, Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, Gujarat. Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, and all slightly higher, but it was just going almost on tandem. Then from 91, if you take, what happens is Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh, will continue to grow like this. It will be something like a horizontal line, parallel to the x-axis. But Tamil Nadu, you will find suddenly it starts moving up. It's like the plane taking off, and it's galloping. So much so, it's not only as it happened in Andhra Pradesh, it happened in Karnataka. So much so that these 3-4 southern states now constitute about 1 trillion of the economy of India, which is around 2.8 trillions. So these 3 or 4 states constitute nearly 1/3 of the economic power of the country, whereas the rest of the states, 27 states together constitute the rest of the $1.8 trillion. So that way, I would say that we haven't given a blueprint of what we are going to do, but we have consciously developed all these things, not only the agriculture but also the industry. And similar is the story for the service sector. Service sector, we missed the bus initially. Otherwise, we would have been the Bangalore of India. But immediately we realized that the mistake that we had committed, and Tamil Nadu is the first state which brought out the this software industrial policy and built this tidal park. And as a result, it started picking up, and as of today, it stands second to Karnataka in terms of the output and the exports. So we have a very kind of a balanced kind of growth. Given our limitations in agriculture, whatever is possible, we have done. And industrialization, we have been very conscious, and we have broad-based it. And we have tried to bring in as many industries as possible within that. And we are employing the largest number of labor in the country in the sector. And third is the service sector. And in today, if you take today, service sector contributes the most to the economy, Tamil Nadu economy. But in terms of employment, agriculture continues to employ the largest number of people.